Are you looking to do deals and master flipping houses? Welcome to the DoDeals Show with our host, Mr. Tim Mai. As a successful investor and mentor to many real estate investors, Tim's students consistently run 6- and 7-figure investing businesses. Each week, you'll hear from top real estate investors who share the best strategies, systems, and secrets that you can use to be more successful. Tim and his guests will pull back the curtain for you to learn their exact tactics, tricks, and tools that are working best right now in today's real estate market. Now, let's welcome Mr. Tim Mai.
Well, welcome to the Heroes Alliance show, where we interview successful real estate entrepreneurs on their best tips and tricks to success. And today we have Mark Ferguson with us. Mark is a very successful real estate investor as well as a real estate agent out of the Boulder, Colorado area. And he's going to share with us how to build your passive income empire through real estate. And so, Mark, thank you so much for being on this interview with me today, buddy.
No, great to be here. Thank you for having me, and excited to share some knowledge.
Awesome. So how about we start with, you can share with everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate investing.
So I graduated from the University of Colorado in Boulder with a finance degree. Couldn't really find a job I liked, and so I started work part-time with my dad in real estate, who'd been an agent since '78. And that turned to a full-time gig. My dad flipped houses once in a while, so I kind of learned on that front as well, which I really liked. Got involved in the REO and HUD listing business as an agent, then started investing in rental properties, really ramped up the flipping business. Bought out my dad in 2013.
Oh, wow.
And so now I'm pretty involved in real estate.
That's awesome. So is your dad retired now?
Yes, he is. He's retired and enjoying life.
Gotcha. Well, that's awesome. Now, not a lot of investors do, the real estate agent side of the business as well. If you can share with us, what's the benefit from having both sides of the business that way?
I think being an agent is a huge benefit for me. One thing is I find so many more deals, most of my deals come from the MLS, and it's a huge advantage acting quick. I save a commission whenever I buy or sell a house, and just networking with people too is an awesome advantage with being an agent. And plus, I have a team I've created that sells houses, and so that helps with my investing as well, and it's just a really good fit for me.
That's great. So when you say it helps with networking with other people, with other agents or with other investors as well? Or
with everything, with other agents. If there are agents who are listing houses that might be distressed or they can't find a buyer for it, they know I buy a lot of houses myself, so sometimes they'll even come to me and say, hey, I've got a really good deal, I can't get it sold, would you be interested? Or, title companies, lenders, the same thing. They know how involved I am investing, and they know I have a really good reputation for doing what I say I'm going to do.
Right.
So they'll actually bring me deals once in a while without me doing anything.
That's great. And do you think, from the perspective of agents referring you deals, or if they have listings they can't sell, they bring it to you, do you think that an agent, if they have two choices between you, someone who's also an agent, and an investor, and they have that sort of that common background with on the agent side versus just an investor, you think that gives you a little edge over the other person with that background? I
think it does a little bit, because being an agent, we're regulated more, so we have a little bit more oversight and responsibility for what we can and can't do. And plus, the biggest factor, though, is most people in my town or in real estate know me, and they trust me. So I think that's probably the biggest factor. And being an agent has helped promote that over the years. That's
awesome. That's great. Now, you also flip houses as well. Share with us, what are your volume both on the agency side as well as your investing flip side?
So when I was, in the prime of the HUD REO foreclosure crisis, we were selling 200 houses a year.
Wow.
And most of that was me, myself, as a listing agent. Now that's dried up to nothing in Colorado, but I've got 6 licensed agents on my team, and we're still selling about 100 houses a year. But instead of me selling all of them, I sell almost none of them now, which is nice. My agents do almost all of it. And then on the flip side, I've sold 11 flips so far in 2016. I've got 11 going at the moment, so I usually get 15 to 20 a year flips completed.
Gotcha. Okay. And what, how big are your flips typically? How much, what price range are they in? How big are these repairs?
I usually go for the lower end flips, so I buy from 50 to 150,000. But I do have one I bought for 535,000. I'm working on right now as well. So most of them are under the $200,000 range. I usually put $20,000 to $40,000 of repairs into them.
Okay.
The big one was kind of a weird deal, where it was occupied by the previous owner, and there's some lease issues. It was a crazy deal.
Gotcha.
Lots of opportunity there because of that.
Right. Yeah. We love crazy deals because really that's where the money is, right? The big money,
exactly.
anyways. That's awesome. And so yeah. I mean, it sounds like your rehab, the amount of rehab, that's very typical. Very common throughout the whole country. That price point. Tons of buyers there, right? People can afford that. Very bread and butter type homes. So at what point did you transition from being an active agent over to start looking at passive income?
I really started to buy rental properties in 2010.
Okay.
So I was still a very active agent at that time, and I was making decent money, and I was just thinking to myself, I should have more to show for how much money I'm making and what I do, because I'm investing in the stock market, and it just wasn't fun for me. So I researched as much as I could. Even though I was in real estate, I still looked at franchises, all types of ways to invest my money, and rental properties just kept coming up as the best way to do it. So I really focused on buying rentals and ended up buying 16 rentals basically in the last 5 years, and then sold 2 of them this year because our market's so crazy in Colorado. I sold 2 of my least desirable properties and took some cash out of them.
Gotcha. Okay. Why are they least desirable?
One was a college duplex, and almost all my rentals are single family homes, with one family in them. Mm-hmm. And that one was harder to rent, needed some work, and the price jumped up on it. And I knew that would kind of be a property that lowered in price if our market changed more than the others.
Gotcha.
And another house had no dining room. It was really hard to rent. So that one, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to sell it, the tenants were moving out, this is the best time to sell it. So I sold that one as well.
Oh, that's smart. Okay. So would that be a strategy that you would, that you teach your students? Oh, and another thing, folks, I didn't share with you, but Mark has a blog. It's investformore.com. That's investfour more.com, and he teaches other people about how to build rental portfolios and how to fix and flip. So check out his blog. But is that how you teach your students as well, to sort of to buy better rentals as well as keep better rentals as they build their portfolio up?
I think so. I think one thing I try to teach students too is everybody's different. Everybody has a different goal and market they work in. Mm-hmm. So what I do might not work for you, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of strategies you can use that I use. I'm not a big fan of super cheap rentals because they're harder to finance, more maintenance, more turnovers usually. Expensive rentals are usually harder to cash flow on. So I really like that kind of middle of the road, B-class rental property that's easy to rent, easy to sell. Usually you have low turnover. Those have worked really well for me.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's talk about that B-class rental, right? So in your market, what does that mean?
I would classify it as, well, our median price has jumped the last few years. It was about $120 in 2012, mm-hmm. and now it's $260.
Whoa!
So, yeah, it's been
wow.
So, that's one reason why I sold some of my rentals, is because our prices are so crazy. But I always bought my rentals below market, so I'd always make sure I got an awesome deal. And then once I fixed them up and rented them, they're usually right below the median value, I'd say. So they're not in the middle, but kind of just below that median value was where I found my sweet spot. And that's kind of why it feels B-class. C-class is usually, a little lower.
Right.
And that's what my thoughts are.
That's great. And then what kind of cash flow are you looking for?
I've always wanted about $400 to $500 a month on my properties. So
Net.
I would buy them from $80,000 to $140,000.
Okay.
Put 20% down. Maybe make $5,000 to $15,000 in repairs on them, and then I'd usually end up renting them for $1,200 to $1,600 after I was done. And one nice thing about Colorado is our taxes are super low.
Oh, okay. What's the percentage?
Like 0.5%. So
wow.
Yeah, like on my $100,000 house I buy, the taxes might be $600 a month or a year. Sorry, $600 or $700 a year.
That's super cheap. Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys have income like state income tax, or
Yes.
is that why? Okay.
Yeah, they make up for it in other ways. cheap on rentals, but yeah, we have a higher income tax and sales tax and all that.
Right. Okay. That's phenomenal. Okay. So so let's get into financing part of it. So it sounds like you get a normal conventional loan and then put 20% down. Is that how you do your rentals?
I use a local lender for everything I do.
Ah.
So I wouldn't call it conventional. I call it more of a portfolio loan because they don't sell their loans on the secondary market. They keep them all in-house. And because of that, I've got 15 mortgages with them right now.
Gotcha.
They have no problem. With the conventional lender, you'll run into problems once you have 4 mortgages or 10 especially. But the local lender is so nice to work with. They don't need appraisals if it's under a $100,000 loan. They don't care what shape it's in. It can need tons of work, and really flexible. So I love the local lenders.
Gotcha. So that that limitation on 4 properties or even 10 properties doesn't apply to portfolio lenders. Is that correct?
No, usually that applies to the conventional lenders. Who are going to sell their loan, the secondary market, securitize it in the stock market, all that. And with the local lenders, they kind of make their own rules if they're keeping the loans in house. So that's one reason I went to a local lender was because I had 4 mortgages, and Chase Bank is like, you can't get more than 4. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you can't do it? I'm like, I did some research. I'm like, I can do it, just they won't do it. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And do your lender, do they require that you after a certain number of properties to package them into some type of a commercial loan or umbrella type loan, or no?
No, they ran into some roadblocks when I hit $2.5 million in loans with them. So I also get fix and flip loans through them as well.
Okay.
So I still could get loans. They just had to run it through their committee. It took a little longer, but they're technically a commercial product I use now. What I use is a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage, amortized over 30 years, but there's no balloon payment. So, I don't have to pay it off after 5 years, but the rates can go up.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And rates, my last loan was 4.5% with them.
Yeah. So. Especially, this market right now, rates are still super low. So, let's hope it continue that way for a while, right?
Yes.
That's great. So, what are some of your best tips or tricks when it comes to someone looking to to start building that passive portfolio?
One thing I would say I run into a lot with my blog and talking to people, and maybe it's partially my fault, but they see me being an agent, they see me flipping houses, they see me having rentals, and they see me writing, and they're like, oh, I want to do all that at once. It's like, I had an agent on my team who wanted to do all that at once, and it didn't work out well. So I'd say focus is probably, one of the best things you can do. If you want to get into real estate investing, whether it's flipping, rentals, whatever, focus on that one thing you want to do first, and don't scatter your brain with 8 different ideas you're trying to do. Agents have that problem too, where they try and market themselves in 20 different ways. And I always say, doing 20 different things mediocre is not going to help your business. Do 1 or 2 things really good, and that'll help you succeed. So I know a lot of people want to wholesale flip, and just choose one to start out with. And if that doesn't work, then maybe move on, but really focus on one way to invest. Another thing I think that people really need to do is learn their market as well as you possibly can. Flipping, rentals, wholesaling. If you know your market, you know what prices are, it helps you so much in finding a good deal. Knowing neighborhoods, knowing investors in your area, the more you can focus on your market, or if you're choosing a different market, knowing that market, like the back of your hand, will be such a huge advantage.
Gotcha.
And then another one is, don't count on house prices to go up. I saw it in the last housing crisis with flippers, with rental properties. They just buy, thinking, oh, prices are going up 10% a year. They're always going to do that forever. And that gets you in trouble. So when I'm flipping, when I'm buying rentals, I never assume things are going to get better than they are right now today. And I build enough profit so if they get worse, I'm okay too. And that's kind of helped me get through the housing crisis, the downturn, the upturns, instead of over leveraging yourself and getting yourself in trouble.
Right. That's awesome. Great tip. So number one is focus. So whatever niche you're in, get really good with that, right? And then, grow into other niches, like you said. And then, number two is don't speculate, right? Make sure that you buy it right today, have enough equity so that way if the market does turn, you have enough equity to be able to, either liquidate them or have enough cash flow to cover for the downturn. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
know your market.
Right. Yes. And know your market. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you started, in 2001. So how did you navigate through that 2008 market crash?
Well, in Colorado, we started seeing the crash earlier in 2006 even because they overbuilt here like crazy. And our county led the nation in foreclosures in 2007, 2006. And it wasn't like prices dropped 50% overnight, though. It's kind of a slow decline, 20% over a couple years, maybe. So it wasn't like we saw, huge drops in other areas. Mm-hmm. But still, I always, when I was flipping houses, we always try to get them bought and sold within 6 months. So if you're working in those shorter time frames, usually you can survive a market decrease as long as you're not trying to overprice houses. I saw that problem too, where people are, wouldn't lower the price, overprice their homes, and they sit on them, and it just gets worse and worse.
Right.
And then, like I said, figuring what the house is worth today, never assuming it go up, and then building enough profit where if prices do go down, you can still make money. And I wasn't one to hold houses for the most profit. I always want to turn them, keep my money moving. And once you hold a property, it never works out well if your intention was to flip it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I have some accidental rentals, and those never work out well.
Nope.
That's really great. So make sure that you get in and out of these properties. Cause I made those mistakes before where, I wanted to hold on for more money. It's like, but I want to make this, this much on it. And I hold on. Next thing you know, I lose out on the opportunities or lose out on the offers that, I could have taken and just run with that, right?
Yep, exactly. And then also that money's tied up too.
Yeah.
While you're waiting, you can't use that money to buy other properties, do other deals. So it's a double-edged sword. And then, we always use the term as real estate agents, a stigmatized property where once it's on the market for a certain amount of time, people wonder what's wrong with it. Even if there's nothing really wrong with it, they just see the days on market like, oh, I'm not going to see that. It's got to have a problem. So selling quick is the way to go.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to flips, just sell them quick. And then besides the portfolio lenders, are there any other type of lenders that you use or that you teach your students to use as well?
There's so many lenders out there. For flipping, my portfolio lender also does flipping loans. I have 3 local banks in my town who will give me loans to flip houses. 4.5% to 5.5% interest rate, 1 point. But, I have to put 25% down when I buy them. But still, it's great rates. I use private money as well. So I know some investors in town who used to flip houses who turn into private money lenders. Mm-hmm. I have private money from some of my family who would rather give it to me and make a decent interest rate than, put it in a CD for 1% or whatever it is.
Right.
And then I don't use hard money myself, but hard money is also an option for flippers, especially if you're getting started. Sometimes that's a more feasible option, paying higher rates, more points. But if the deals are good enough, it still can work out. So there's a lot of options. And with rentals, too, if you're just starting out, conventional mortgages, I think, are still a decent option as well.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely the easier way to go, for sure. It's kind of like what you did, right, where you got your 4 loans, and then you go and talk to a portfolio lender. And I think that at that point, it makes the conversation easier because you already have a track record. They can very quickly refinance you out of those 4 loans that you have, which is instant business for them. Right, and then makes it easier for them to make that decision to say, hey, I want to work with you.
Yes, for sure. And another thing, that refinancing too is a good point, because once you have 10 mortgages in your name, it's really hard to refinance anything with any conventional lender. And if you do refinance it, probably won't give you cash back. But with my portfolio lender, I've just refinanced 3 properties and took out $150,000 from them.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, it's another great option with portfolio lenders.
Gotcha. So, like, is your strategy to pay down these properties as fast as you can, so you can eventually own them free and clear, or your strategy to use whatever cash you have to buy newer properties, to acquire more properties, and just keep them at 80% leverage?
When I first started out, I paid off my first rental in 3 years. Mm-hmm. So my strategy was to pay it off as soon as I could, use all my cash flow to do that. Mm-hmm. Then I kind of switched gears and decided I wanted to buy more properties. So I actually have a goal to buy 100 rentals by 2023.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of behind on that goal, but so I started saving all my cash flow, really saving as much money as I could, buy as many properties as I could. The problem this year is our prices have skyrocketed here so much that I can't cash flow well in my market very well.
I see.
So I've been concentrating on the flipping, and then I've been looking at new markets. So pretty soon I'm probably going to start buying rentals in a different market outside of Colorado. I'm thinking Florida, and try my luck at that.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but I guess, I mean, what would you recommend for people? And you can look at from both someone who's starting new to someone who's, more seasoned at this. Like, what strategy do you have? Your opinion on that?
For paying off versus holding them, I think
versus leveraging them. Yeah.
Yeah. When I buy them, I'm putting 20% down. I'm making repairs, and then they're usually really good deals. So I usually have about 40 to 50% equity in them.
I see.
Once I'm done. So to me, that's a really good equity position. I'm okay having that equity position without paying them off.
Gotcha.
And since I'm trying to buy more, I think I can buy more faster by saving that money and not paying them off. Plus, with my new properties I'm buying, hopefully, I'll be making, at least 15% cash on cash returns, plus the other advantages. That's a lot higher rate than the 4 or 5% interest I have on the loan.
Right.
So I'm a pretty aggressive investor, pretty aggressive in what I want to do. To me, I would rather buy more properties with a higher rate than pay off my existing properties. But, if someone's already got 20 properties, they don't want to buy anymore, they're relaxing, maybe they want to pay off some of them, maybe that's their goal. But I think in a growth phase, I think it's better to buy more than to pay off the ones you have now.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess it has a lot to do with how active or passive you want to be with this.
Yes, right, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And so it sounds to me like what you recommend people to do is, number one, like, focus on their niche, whether that'll be a wholesaling or flipping an agent, and then the cash that they make from that, using that as down payment on toward building their rental portfolio. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. Is tried to use my flipping, my real estate business to make as much money as I could, and then dump as much of that as I can into long-term properties, and it's worked out really well so far.
Gotcha. That's good. Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure you have seen this too, right? Where you have people who do a lot of flips, or or agents make a lot of commission, but then don't put any into rental portfolios or long-term income portfolio. And then you also have the other side where newbie investors coming in and trying to buy whatever rentals they can, and then they run out of money and they end up with like 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 properties, but that's it. It's like so their passive building portfolio is like much slower than someone who does both of, like, active, use that money, invest passively.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point too. When I say focus, rental property investing, I don't think that's a full-time job. You're not buying a house every day or every week. And, once you buy a rental, I use property managers, so I'm not managing them. I don't want any of those headaches. It's pretty much all passive once I buy them. So, I think you should learn the rental business as well as you can, but you don't have to do just rentals. If you want to flip houses, you have a different career, focus on how to make money, and then also, invest that money into rentals. I think that's an awesome strategy.
Great. And So you mentioned that you outsource the property management part of it. How do you know to find good property managers? Because I know like they have different interests than you, right? They want it to turn over more so they can make money each time it turns over, and you want the tenants to stay there longer because you want to be more passive for you. So how do you find good ones?
I cheated because I hired someone on my team to be my property manager. So, my team manager, Justin, who manages my agents, he's my property manager. I pay him. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of work together. I taught him how to do it. And so he doesn't make all his money from property management. It's just kind of like a side income.
Nice.
So he has the same goal as me in that he wants his little hassle, he just wants those checks to come in every month with as little work as possible. He still does a great job. But yeah, he's not looking to rent them every, couple months and get those turnover fees. But yeah, that is a good point. And I think you really have to do your due diligence with any property management company. Vet as many as you can. Call them up pretending to be tenants, do as much as you can to figure out how good they are. Because I see some really bad property management companies.
Yeah, me too. So that's great. It's a good tip, like calling them up as a tenant and see, how they do. That's awesome.
Yeah, because if you see a house for rent and you call them up and they never call you back, obviously, they're not trying to rent your house. Or, just seeing if they actually answer the phone, seeing if they give you information on other rentals. It's a really good way to see how they handle it.
That's great. Great tip. Okay, so I know, by now, a lot of people are more, are interested in learning more about what you do. I know you have tons of books on Amazon's. Can you share with us some of what you have for people who are interested, wanting to connect with you, learn more about you? Where you want to send them?
All right, so yeah, investformore.com is the best way to reach out to me, to connect with me. My email, I always answer emails, mark@investformore.com. I'm happy to talk to people. But yeah, on my site, if you sign up, I've got some free ebooks for people on real estate investing, on being a real estate agent. And then, like you said, I've got 4 paperback books on Amazon. Build a Rental Empire was a #1 bestseller. That's my best book, probably, that I'm the most proud of. It's done really awesome. And then I also have some coaching programs as well that we do, conference calls twice a month, teach people about the real estate agent side or the investing side. Tons of resources. I've got calculators for cash flow, for cash on cash returns. The site, it's 400 articles plus that I've written myself on the site. So there's a lot of information out there.
That's great. I love that. So I have a big question for you. Are you ready, Mark?
Yes.
All right. So here at the Heroes Alliance, we believe that all entrepreneurs are heroes because of the commitment that we offer our family, our clients, our staff, right? In your case, as an educator, our students too. Do you see yourself as a hero?
That's a tough question because I feel too like hero is a strong word to use in somebody in my position. I feel like firefighters and policemen are heroes more than I am, but I still feel that one of my main purposes is to help other people as much as I can. I'm a strong believer in karma. That the more I help, the better, more successful I will be. And one thing I didn't realize when I first started my blog and started writing articles was how good it felt when people would message me or email me and say, "Oh my gosh, you really helped me." And I was wow, that feels good to know that someone cares what I think. And I actually, help them make a decision on something. So yeah, I don't know if I'd say I'm a hero, but I definitely try to think of myself as an educator, trying to help others and trying to, make the world a better place if I can.
Right. That's awesome. That's beautiful. And that's exactly, how we define hero. It's for us, the acronym stands for Heart-Strong Entrepreneurs Who Believe in Getting Rich by Enriching Others. And that's exactly what you do. And so, in my eyes, you're definitely a hero. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Yeah. Mark, thank you so much, buddy, for this awesome interview. Awesome tips that you share with us in this interview. Thank you so much for, all that you do in your writing, from your articles to your books, to your coaching, really reaching out to share your knowledge, share your experience with others so that way it shortcut their success, right? shortcut their path to success. So thank you so much for all that you do, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be on the show. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Happy investing, and see you next time.
All right, sounds good. Have a great one.
You too.
And that's our show for today. If you have any questions or would like to get further training from Tim Mai, please visit our website at www.dodeals.com/Tim.